game.
Dezislava Bojalova wishes the players well. Ooh.
Looks like Pecelj, yeah.
Wins the luck.
As you would say, Jeremy, by a hair.
Yeah, it wasn't by much. And, you know, a lot of times the lag, people think about it, but this level, we saw Jayson open with 3 racks in the last
Aleksa
match.
Pecelj at break.
10 is still the target for a place in the semi-finals.
And Aleksa, he broke and ran 6 racks in a row in his previous match with a 10-1 victory over, at the moment, probably the greatest player to ever come from Europe as far as titles, Ralph Souquet.
And that just doesn't happen nowadays with the different breaking rule and the tighter pockets. It's practically unheard of.
Well, that's what I said earlier. When you get to this stage, you're going to have a lot of close matches. They're not all hill-hill, of course, but you're going to have a lot of close matches because the conditions are tough and the players are playing awesome. So when given an opportunity, they really capitalize. Now, when we do get those score lines late in the tournament, like we had with 10-1, it's usually something very special happened, just like that 6-pack he had earlier.
23 years of age, from Smederevo, which is about 30 miles along the River Danube from the Serbian capital of Belgrade. Still lives in Serbia. And we've been getting his name wrong, you know, because I asked him earlier, it's Pecelj, but that's if you're familiar with the language and able to pronounce it as well as he can. Pecelj is what he's been known as, so I think we'll stick with that for now.
Yeah, we'll work on the other. But I think, you know, just not only all the players, but especially someone that's, you know, a little new to this setting and not new to big matches, but just, you know, way deep in the U.S. Open on the main table. It's not a matter if you're going to make a mistake. Most likely both are. It's how they recover and move on from that mistake. And I think that weighs a little heavier on Aleksa's side than Jayson.
He's ranked number 25 in the world, and that's an improvement of 12 places since the start of 2023. And if you put together a list based on ranking points earned so far since the start of the year, he's number 15 on that. So all of that really underlines how quickly he's progressing.
Yeah, and the year-to-date rankings are what applies to the Moscone Cup. But I think at times, you know, when you, of course, he believes he can make that team, and I think all of us believe he will make that team one day. He's just too good of a talent at such a young age. But I think he's just concerned with playing well, and that's the ticket.
Certainly played well in this opening rack. A break and run. You can't start better than that. He leads the former champion Jayson Shaw 1-0.
Oh, you didn't notice, okay.
So the other match going on in these quarterfinals at the moment, Robbie Capito from Hong Kong, 22 years of age, the youngest player left in the championship, up against Fedor Gorst. And it looks as though Capito is going to take the first rack here.
We always talk about talent, and Capito's
Robbie Capito ranked first.
Upside is way, way up there, and one of the best in the game, I believe. And like a Jesus Atencio, I believe, has a huge upside as well. But Robbie's been putting in the time out here at these tournaments, taking a lot of hard losses, a lot of great wins as well.
I spoke to him after his match earlier on today.
Thank you. The second rack.
And I loved the way he was talking after that 10-8 win over Daniel Maciol. There was none of this talk about him just happy to have got this far. He's firmly focused on winning it, as is this young man, who leads 1-0.
Yeah, and you can tell he's certainly worked on the break, and it's been paying off so far. Maybe partially hooked here, we'll see, but I don't think it'll slow him down. He hasn't gone to the short cue, so that tells me he has a look at the blue too. And you'll You'll see different breaking positions from the players. They all playing a cut break for the most part, but all have different types of theories. And of course, depending on your technique and how much speed you can get into the ball comfortably may determine your position of the cue ball. And here he is going for that jump cue. And this is where you can't push out. You have to take a chance with the jump. Get a look here in a moment. Is the 8 impeding? Yes, it is. It's impeding the path of the 3-9 combination. So most likely a safety coming. I like him just chipping off the left side of the 3, trying to hold the 3 with the 9, and going up by the pink with the cue ball. Now he's going to try and go forward and try and hold behind the 9, but he's going to have to bump the 9. Reason why, he has to get the 3 to the top cushion. That's what happens a lot of times. You lose a little of the pace on the ball, and now he's giving up a look at the red 3.
So Jayson Shaw coming to the table, recently turned 35. He's ranked number 5 in the world, and he's in a very familiar position, the only remaining British player.
And Jayson, of course, a former champion and the only one left in our quarterfinals, but also has the most experience on the slick table. That being the match he played in the last round, plus all the Moscones, big finals he's played in throughout the world. I didn't mind the bank. A lot of people say, why not play safe there? And the safety wasn't that great. All right, is he going to try and put much speed into this? You hate to roll the ball super light from some 7-8 feet away, but almost looks like it has to be a real soft stroke to hold position on the pink 4.
30-second shot clock, but as you'll seen in action there, each player gets 1 extension per rack.
You could see that 3 caught a little bit of the side rail. Talked about it earlier that this table hasn't been used all week until today. So it's going to play a little easier with the pockets.
Foul shot.
And with ball in hand from here, you fancy 1-all is coming up.
Start the clock, please.
And of course, that scratch is going to be labeled as a mistake, but from a long ways away, he had to put some speed on it and take a little chance with the cue ball, and it just wasn't to be in rack 2 for Aleksa.
Yeah, and once Pecelj had scratched, that looked fairly inevitable given the way they were sitting. So it does indeed go 1-all in the very early stages of this US Open quarterfinal. This is the junior final. That's in the early stages as well. How much would you have loved to have had these opportunities when you were that age?
Yeah, I started at 17, so that was a hard proposition for me. But yes, this would have been incredible. And that's Laz Martinez. He's from Texas. Known him several years, and a very, very great talent at a young age. Just turned 17. You can look, he kind of mimics his game behind Shane.
It's a bit like the big Grand Slam tennis events where they have the junior tournaments, but of course they're playing on outside courts. They're not playing there on the very next table where they can see the stars of the game. So it's pretty unique to the sport, and these junior events go alongside all these big field Matchroom Open events these days.
And I think as much as anything, you know, getting to hang out with everyone, the players and whatnot, but, you know, the juniors, it's a temperamental age, right? So a lot of different directions you can go. But if these kids get to experience not necessarily winning, but what the atmosphere of it is, and, you know, all the good people around the sport, it really could be a motivating factor at a time where kids could use some of that.
So Jayson Shaw's first break of the match. It's turned out quite nicely.
Yeah, that's really, of course, you always got to clean them up, Michael, but that's really what got him going against Skylar Woodward.
His toughest match so far actually came before we got to the single elimination stage. He beat Robert Hart 9-1, then Blaine Barkas 9-4. But in winner's qualification, he was pushed to 9-8 by Jeremy Sose.
Yeah, great player from up here in the Northeast, and a player that I'm sure Jayson has had many battles with. And look at Shaw, really. You know, he could have tried to break these out with some spin, but he's going to play it pretty conservative and just take the snooker.
He beat a fourth successive American opponent in Earl Strickland, five-time US Open winner, 10-3 in the last 64. 10-5 then against Jonas Souto Camino of Spain, and ended home interest in the tournament in a participation sense. Well, that 10-5 win over Skylar Woodward just a few hours ago.
Yeah, big hit here because the purple is very difficult. So, yeah. And that's why the players try to stay aggressive, because they know not only the incoming player, they hit the ball so well on the kick shots, they jump real well. Plus, you never know how the balls are going to roll.
Extension code.
This is not easy here. Everything difficult. Going to the top rail to hit it, two rails to hit it is very difficult. I think the seven's in the way coming across the table. And he needs to put some speed because he may not get a rail if he hits it light. Oh, nice hit. Look how deep that side pocket is. Looks like half the ball is past the rail there, Michael, right?
And he's walking away very gently.
Wow, is it still moving like the golf ball? That does happen sometimes, believe it or not. He may have corner hooked him here.
Extension code.
Tell you. This is where the slick table may fool him. Like if he puts top left English, which is correct, it may not bite as much as he thinks. And he may just barely go by the 9 or even into the 9. Hit it sweet. Caught it a little thick to the hole, so that helped out the cue ball.
He's been this far in an event like this before. The UK Open last year in London, got to the quarterfinals and was beaten 11-10 by Joshua Filler. Don't think I've ever seen a player so heartbroken to lose a match as he was then.
Well, the funny, I really think, well, he got way thin here, but that's okay. The 7's all right. He can come 2 rails back to the head spot, which is the opposite of the spot on the top of the table. I think all of us were really heartbroken for him in that match. Such a likable kid, so respectful, and really kind of outplayed Josh Filler in that match. But of course, Josh does what he does at the end of the match and makes some of the greatest shots you've ever seen.
Yeah, Pecelj had beaten so many good players to get that far. Eklund Kachi, Tyler Steyer, Mieszko Fortunski. was chatting to him just earlier today, in fact, and he said that he felt if he could beat Filler, who was very much the man in form at that time, he was going to go on and win the whole thing. That only added to the heartbreak. I remember seeing him standing outside the Copper Box Arena after that match, and he was literally in tears.
All right, does he catch the second rail before the side or just straight down the table? All right, a little short. We just saw how the cue ball hung in that side, so that tells you how difficult the middles are.
But he's potted some very good balls already in this match. There's another one. Pecelj leads for the second time at 2-1. It's the quarterfinals of the US Open here in Atlantic City. We've got the Hanoi Open coming up week after next, and then the last matchroom event of the year, the most famous of them all, the Moscone Cup, Europe, looking for 4 in a row against the United States. It all starts on the 6th of December at Alexandra Palace in North London. Aleksa Pecelj might just be there, you know, because he's got every chance of forcing his way right into the European reckoning this weekend. As you can see, Francisco Sanchez Ruiz already confirmed on the European team. The second automatic spot will be decided here, and then the final one in Hanoi in a couple of weeks' time. Skylar Woodward already confirmed on the US team, and Shane Van Boning effectively in now as well.
Rack 4, Aleksa Pecelj at the break, leading by 2 racks to 1.
That will be officially confirmed at the end of the event, but he will be there for the 17th year in a row.
All right, another successful break off. It's been on the one on the side again. It's the great thing about our new break rule and the tight pockets. Everything seems more random. Get to see all the game. It's still about running out, but now we're going to get to see the tactical side here to open. There is a bank, but no position on the 3. So he should come off the right side, trying to use the 7 maybe to come down table and get the snooker. And he's underhit this a bit. And usually, you know, he's trying to control it, maybe the new table, but any signs of anything, the better players, it's usually the underhit that's the issue when the nerves are high. This is what Eagle Eye does the best. Just knock balls in from distance.
Extension code.
Looks like he's got a gap 2 rails between the 7-9 to gain position.
This just the sort of situation he absolutely relishes. So clinical when they're sitting like this. And this is the point at which we welcome viewers on Sky Sports main event. And if you're watching on Sky Sports Arena, great to have your company as well. It's the quarterfinals of the US Open, the most historic event in pool, going all the way back to 1976. Jayson Shaw, the only remaining British player, the only man in the last 8 who's won this US Open before. And he needs this 9-ball to level with Aleksa Pecelj of Serbia at 2 apiece. Also level pegging in the other quarterfinal going on at the moment. Robbie Capito of Hong Kong against Fedor Gorst, the former world champion. That's 1-1. We're here at Harrah's Resort in Atlantic City for the 3rd year in a row. And also going on is the SVB Junior Open, which was staged for the first time last year, won by Khalid Al Ghamdi of Saudi Arabia. It's Lazaro Martinez of the US trying to level at 2-2 with Karl Naderberg from Estonia, who we're well used to seeing in the main draw at these events. You know a bit about this young American, JJ?
Oh yeah, pool playing family. His younger brother plays real
Jayson
well
Shaw to break.
also.
2 racks each.
Yeah, they're from New Braunfels, Texas, right near San Antonio. The hill country, we call it. Okay, a nice setup here. I don't know how the 3's sitting on the pocket, and the only reason that's a concern is if he has to kind of double kiss the 3 in, now the purple 5 will come into play on the next shot. You can see the 3 sitting on the upper part of the pocket a little bit. So he needs to play the 2 into the lower part of the 3. Oh, he's playing the kiss. Nice choice. But you notice he played a double kiss there on the 3 as well. That way the cue ball didn't come up and get over the 5, something like that.
Yeah, we know for big events like this, some new people come to the game of 9-ball pool. Great to have you with us. And as we saw in action there, so long as you hit the lowest valued ball remaining on the table first, any pot is legal and it keeps you at the table. So in that instance, he came off the 2 to pot the 3. Carries on his way from there. The winner is the player who pots the 9-ball.
Yeah, and you can make the same type of shot on the 9 early in the rack for a win as well. I'll tell you, he's playing a little faster than he did in his last match. Probably a good sign.
I love the way he's looking. I love the way he's talking. So often in big events over the last couple of years, we've mentioned him as a potential winner, and he's gone out remarkably early. In fact, since Matchroom started doing these big full field events, incredibly, this is the first time he's been this far.
Yeah, and maybe not, you know, putting the onus on him so early in the tournament. Of course, Jayson stays busy with his pool room and all kinds of pool stuff, family man, but maybe didn't come here with as much expectations outside of himself, and that necessarily doesn't always hurt.
Yeah, as we've been saying, he has won the US Open before. That was prior to it becoming a Matchroom event, though. And he now leads for the first time in this match at 3-2 after his first break and run of the contest. Player who's been synonymous, really, with the Moscone Cup in recent years. On his debut in 2016, he actually got the winning point. Did that again in 2020, the COVID Moscone in Coventry. Had a chance to get the winning point again the year after that, but after a good start against Skylar Woodward, he had a massive miscue and hardly got into it for the rest of the match.
Yeah, and I mean, it's hard to imagine Jayson Shaw right there at Ali Pally not being on Team Europe, but I mean, it was a,
Rack 6.
you know, definitely a question
Jayson
mark.
Shaw
Now he's trying to put that
leading
question
by
mark
3
away
racks to 2.
here at the US Open.
And he leads 3-2.
The 2 is going to be real nice. Now, what's the 3 doing? I think it does play. Don't think the 3's covered up. I mean, it is covered up a bit, but I think it's makeable. I think he realizes the 3's playable, the 4's shootable from distance. Maybe the 4 to the 5 could be a little bit of an issue, because he's not going to get much closer to the 4 here, I don't think anyways. May draw back 6 or 8 inches maybe. May just stop the cue ball. So now he's kind of straight and a little over the 8. This is the shot of the rack, 4 to the 5.
Yeah, it got there. That year that he clinched the Moscone on his debut, he won 14 tournaments of all sorts of sizes and descriptions around the world that year. So when he got his chance to win this US Open the following year, he knew how to get the job done. He was up against a very young Eklund Kachi in the final, raced away into an 8-0 lead. Never looked like being seriously threatened after that, and won 13-4.
Looks like this ball fell a little straight, so he's just got to pay attention.
He's looking so good here, isn't he? And this is going to be back-to-back break and runs. And all in all, he's now won 3 in a row. Neither player had been more than 1 ahead in the contest. Jayson Shaw is now. It's 4-2. Story of this quarterfinal so far. Jayson Shaw was shown this page at the end of his previous match against Skylar Woodward, and he said that he was very focused on keeping the dry breaks away. Well, they've both managed to do that so far in this match. None on either side. But Jayson Shaw is looking very, very sharp here. And the world number 5 from Scotland, now based here in the United States, leads Aleksa Pecelj of Serbia 4-2. 10 needed to get through to the final day. Semis and final will both be played tomorrow. Capito Gorst we saw there. Latest score I have there is that he's 2-1 down to Hong Kong's Robbie
Jayson
Capito.
Shaw to break, leading by 4 racks to 2.
Jayson Shaw was 2-1 down here, but he's won 3 on the bounce since then.
Now we're going to see a push out here. Again, if you're new to 9-ball after the break, whether it's the breaker after making a ball on the break or the incoming player after a dry break, if you don't like your position, you can push the cue ball out. You have to declare push out. And when you do so,
Push out code.
you push it out, and then the incoming player has the option to take the shot or pass it. And you can do things with the push out, just like right there, tying up the 4 and 5. Because at this level, or really any level, when you push out, you kind of have the worst of it to start the game.
Aleksa Pecelj started with a 9-1 win over Barry West, not to be confused with the English professional snooker player who reached the quarterfinals of the UK Championship. He then lost 9-8 to Kang Lee, who we saw playing for Korea at the World Cup. So he needed 3 wins on the loser side. The first was straightforward against 68-year-old Edward Epperson, who he beat 8-0. But it was pretty close then against the steadily improving Romanian Babken Melkonyan, 8-6. The experienced Estonian Dennis Graba, who he beat 9-7. Since then, in single elimination, 10-3 win over the British veteran Imran Majid. Pushed to 10-7 by Pong Nam Pham of Vietnam, and then that wonderful performance earlier to beat Ralph Suke 10-1. But back in the present day, he's passed it back to Jayson Shaw.
Yeah, and this is a part of the game that Jayson's improved at so much. First came to the States, the tactical side of 9-ball was a little light. He's really worked on it. And remember, the tactical side is what got Jayson back to the table on a missed safety. Oh, really nice kill on the cue ball there. And he could go aggressive at that safety, knowing the 4-5 was a little tied up. That's why maybe a little experience or lack of from Aleksa realizing that situation. Still, though, hard to argue because the execution was so good from Jayson. I mean, that's a pretty bare ball on the right side of the table, the green 6. Touche, Mr. Shaw, and a little angle on the 3 to break out the 4-5.
Oh, that's going to make you feel good. He's not accustomed to being out there. I mentioned that UK Open quarterfinal, but that wasn't on the main table. So this is a huge day in the life of Aleksa Pecelj.
Yeah, now I can see it's too much angle, so maybe a safety coming. All right, Jayson going between the 8-9, trying to kick and just bring the ball down. All those shots are by design, ladies and gentlemen. Now the problem here, you want to make sure the 3, whatever you do, isn't roaming near that 4 and 5. Maybe for a safety for Jayson or some kind of offensive shot to break those balls up. And it looks like he's going to play it light and try and bring the 3 near the 4-5 using the 7. Boy, he's pretty comfortable, I'll tell you. That kind of shot is not easy. Not going to be happy it's roaming over that left middle pocket, but so you're going to see Jayson get out the short cue and get a little airborne with the cue ball. Only thing here is when you're jumping the ball, it's easy to have your speed wrong because the cue ball's in the air and it can just catch a piece of the 3. And here he's overhit it a little bit. He was trying to size up for the bank on the pink 4.
Jayson Shaw made some headlines early last year with his world record attempt, potting 714 balls in a row. A filmed attempt.
I don't know if he got where he wanted. Pretty good. Very good.
We mentioned that record that he set quite a lot, but I only recently found out, I don't know if you knew this, but he was trying for 5 days, making attempts over and over and over.
Code.
Tried over 100 times before doing that. And
I think it was some 9,000 balls he shot.
when he
5 days.
When he finally did it, JJ, it was 2.5 hours. And okay, so the pockets were probably bigger than this, and there's less pressure when you know you can always have another go. But still, to just keep potting balls like that for 2.5 hours is an amazing mental achievement.
Yes, it is. And I think that's why a lot of players still to this day practice straight pull, because it does toughen you up mentally and teach you plenty. And the pockets were a little generous, but, and you know, straight pull, it's on usually kind of one half the table, a lot of shorter shots, right? But you got to be strong mentally. I mean, you're going to get up to 200-300 and start thinking about it. Boy, the kick shot has not been bad for Aleksa so far. And of course, that record he broke, John Schmidt had that record, but prior it was Willie Moscone himself.
Yeah, he added almost 100 to the record that Schmidt had held. I spoke to him soon after it, and his reaction to setting the record seemed to be, okay, now I want to go for 1,000.
I like the 2-rail escape here, coming across the pink. So it'd be the right long rail near the upper right corner pocket, catching the short rail up on the top of your screen, going directly at the pink. You could come 3 rails behind it. But I think, and you can go 1 rail cross, but I think the one that gets you safe more often, oh, you went 3. He's going to need some help not to give up a shot. And now a chance for Pecelj. Nothing easy, though. Look at the 5 nearly going by the 7.
Absolutely. You have to feel it's the sort of chance he needs to be taking. 4-2 is okay, still plenty of time to turn it round, but it's one of those where if the lead gets any bigger, it starts to look like a long road back.
Okay, he's going to get to that window, but you can tell this is the shot. He's got a natural angle, so don't worry about the 6. The cue ball's going to come off the rail. Well, there's still a lot of confidence here. Yeah, you got a big roll there not to give up an offensive shot. First time he got kind of quick on the stroke, and transfer of the English wasn't there, and maybe just a little worry of that 7 ball. Looks like a deft touch here from Eagle Eye.
He's playing all of those shots so well.
If he can kick to the rail nearest the purple, I don't picture him as much of an underdog here. I don't want to hit a low ball. You want to hit a high ball here. That's what's going to keep the cue ball behind the 9. Oh, he hit it sweet. Trying to get the 5 to the back cushion. Very nice.
We've talked about the race for that second automatic spot on the European Moscone Cup team. FSR already in. Federer Gorst came here leading the race for the next spot. But with Eklenkachi injured, and Al-Kaidi, he and Neuhausen all out, Jayson Shaw is now the closest challenger. But very hard to imagine, given his pedigree and what he brings to the team, and the fact that he's shown some form here, that he wouldn't get a captain's pick, even if he doesn't make the 3 automatics.
Yeah, and it's an interesting situation for Team Europe, of course. Alvin Ocean, not necessarily his best year, but you kind of knew this was coming for Europe one day, right? I mean, just every year you talk about different players. Wow, what a shot. I just feel like that one deserved a little better position on the green 6.
As we look at this again, Pecelj has a chance to get that second automatic place. Because after Shaw, he's the next player in the standings who's still in the tournament. He would have to win the US Open to have a chance of claiming it, but what he can certainly do is put himself in a very good position, even if he doesn't go all the way here.
Well, like we talked about in the opening, I mean, a player trending, and you know, the way they're trending, not just a match or 2 here and there, just over and over, that means a lot. And again, we got Hanoi coming up, so that's a little more to look at. Now, how good are you feeling? Can you bank the 6 between the 8 and 9, and follow through it to put him right behind the 9? Looks like it's laying there, but I don't know if he sees it or maybe just sees something better. So he's going to bank the 6, 2 rails to the bottom, go to the side rail, try to kill the cue ball behind the 8 or 9. Really good. So Eagle Owl pull out the jump cue. And definitely attack on the bank here, trying to hold the cue ball for position on the 7. And if he happens to miss the bank, trying to leave a long shot on the 6 for his opponent.
Safety.
Decisions, I tell you. Hard for these players. It's either the 6-7 combo or the bank. I don't think the safety is really an option here. I think Pecelj has got to take it in his own hands. Try and put some racks together.
Went for the bank, didn't get close to it. Only 4-2, but this has the feel of a rack where it's more like 8-all or even hill-hill. And it's a rack that Jayson Shaw is now extremely well placed to claim.
Let's play a little rail first here as he draw the cue ball.
Lengthy rack then. Pecelj went for the bank. Length of the table, missed it. Shaw made the bank in the side and has gone on from there to clinch his 4th rack in a row. He's halfway to victory and looking very hungry for more of the same. So a few things for Pecelj to reflect on. The winner of this will go through to a semi-final tomorrow against either Robbie Capito of Hong Kong, the youngest player left in the tournament, or the former world champion Federer Gorst. He's only a year older himself at 23, and it's Gorst leading at the moment. It's Capito coming to the table. Player who there's been a lot of talk about for a long time. And he's got a bit of a reputation for pulling off wins against very big name players. This week, though, he's turned it into a sustained run.
Extension, please.
Yeah, Robbie of Filipino heritage, but has lived in Hong Kong for a long, long time. Plays for Hong Kong. Eagle eye with a great break off, making 3 on the break. The pink 4 hasn't gotten in the best position. Interesting that Capito sized up this 4-9 combination, playing shape for the 4-9. Could have played position on the 4 with, you know, not an easy out, but definitely doable. Always combinations can be missed. Fluke by
Robbie Capito.
Wow.
Wins direct.
Love to get another look at that fluke, because when he shot at the 4, actually moved the 5 out of the way for the 9 to have an opening and go 2 rails up in the corner. Jayson Shaw getting no love with the cue ball there after a great shot on the paint.
From Scotland, as we've been saying, but has been based here in the States for some time now. Runs a pool room in Connecticut and hosted a world ranking event there last week that he played in and got to the last 16 of, or it's Neuhausen was the winner.
Well, that's a great hit there, and exactly by design.
Extension from the screen.
And the difference between these upper echelon players and just tears down is grinding out those extra games when you're a little behind it, you know, like when you're an underdog. You know, you're not always going to do it, but that one extra 1 out of 5 or, you know, 3 out of 10 games you can kind of take away from your opponent when you're not supposed to. That shows up. It seems to show up at the most crucial times. Okay, not about the 5. The 5's difficult, but you could see Shaw trying to see what kind of play he has on the green 6 if he knocks in this long, tough 5 ball. And the referee's got to be right on top of this. This is close. The 8's a little ahead of the 6. I think it is playable, but the cue ball will tell us what kind of hit it is on the 6 for sure. But this is touchy. I think that's where he's learned to use his snooker background so well. Those kind of simple shots he doesn't panic on. He kind of understands how to hit them, and you could see real calm stroke there on the safety.
Pecelj has been the winner of a smaller world ranking tournament this year. Just last month, in fact, in Bosnia and Herzegovina. He was also runner-up in a similar event in Spain in April to Wojciech Szewczyk, and he's been very consistent getting through to the later rounds of these big field matchroom events throughout 23, including a run to the last 16 of the World Championship.
Nineball's got to go. He's not to give up a shot. I'll tell you, he's down 5-2, but he has really escaped a lot of safeties in the last few games. Needs to take advantage of some of those little rolls. Seen a little frustration from Jayson there, but not much. And you wonder if the score gets close again, though, right? What a shot. But maybe more frustration may set in.
Looks like 5 on the spin then. Well, the 8 wriggled a little, but was never likely to stay above ground. So 3 balls down on the break. Still had a lot of work to do after that. And it's job done once again. Jayson Shaw is looking very good all around here. Caught him well, playing excellent safety. And he now leads 6-2. Comes from Scotland, of course, with the huge Q Sports background. This is Carl Nadeberg about to have his lead reduced to 5-4 over Lazaro Martinez in the race to 9 SVB Junior Open final. But you think of all the great snooker players from Scotland, Stephen Hendry, 7 times world champion, John Higgins, who's won it 4 times, and Jayson was very much part of that wave of players who were inspired by those two to take up snooker, but it's all been about pool in recent times.
Yeah, he came over here, and like so many from other Q Sports, normally it's been snooker as the transition into 9-ball. Darren, some Allison Fisher, Kelly Fisher, and a lot of other greats. And when he came over, he played real fast, and we kind of thought like he didn't understand that the game's much tougher than it is. It seemed like not as much care at times. But then he slowly started to learn how difficult this game is and the opponents themselves. And I think he's learned a true appreciation for the game of 9-ball. And of course, it's made his career.
And funny to think, given that background that he had initially and perhaps underestimated the difficulty of the game, that he found himself flying the flag for pool, because when Judd Trump, former world snooker champion, came over to play in this US Open 2 years ago, got through the early stages. And the first really good pool player he met was Jayson Shaw, who absolutely destroyed him on the table.
Yeah, that's so much to the game, and of course that's what the great thing Matchroom has done here in the World 9-ball Tours. They've made sure that's still intact. The rules that were before and some rules they still play in other events. Hard to find the true winner.
Extension code? Sorry, it's our system, it's all right.
Well, that's the sound you would hear if time ran out, but there seems to be some issue with it. He had called the extension.
Start the shot clock, please.
Boy, he's really been getting paid off with the kicks and the jumps so far. Just hasn't taken advantage of it with a few openings. That technical side of things, it's amazing how touchy it is from week to week. That's why it takes such a big team to get everything accomplished. Well, I think it's open.
Yeah, and if Pecelj doesn't start making something happen in his favor soon, this quarterfinal could really slip away from him. So big moments, these.
Yeah, not the easiest of position. He's got to worry about grazing this 7 and having a bad luck with the cue ball. Already got by it. Now, I think there is a kiss shot on the 9 involving the pink 4. Got to get in a decent position to do so. I think it is playable.
He broke his leg, Aleksa Pecelj, falling down some stairs. I think it might only have been last year, and he was out for 4 months. But he made the best of it, because while he was laid up at home, he took the time and used those few months to read up on the mental side of the game and the psychology, and he feels that's made a big difference for him. Certainly his results since he came back would endorse that view.
Yeah, well, this tells me the way he's played position that this 4 may slide by the 9 in the upper corner. Yeah, I don't think there's a more mental sport in the world than 9-ball pool, or any cue sport, really. A real nice shot. I mean, golf is a very mental game, but like I said earlier, you get to hit your ball and kind of walk it off, whether that be you just hit the greatest shot ever, or maybe one you'd like to have back. Pool, you got to get on with it, and you got to really trust your process.
I feel one of the big differences is if you hit a bad shot in golf, you at least get to play another shot to try to rectify it. You make a mistake at this level of pool, you might not get back to the table for a few racks. That really adds pressure.
Yeah, and it's a little harder to let it exit the mind, that mistake. Got a little straight. You could hear a little something like he didn't like it. So I don't know if he's going to cheat the pocket, draw the ball, go forward. The 9's definitely playable down the table. Looks like he's going to cheat the pocket a little bit. Oh, he's rip drawing it.
This to end a run of 5 losing racks in a row. And he's still a live contender in this quarterfinal. He's back to 6-3 behind against Jayson Shaw. It's the penultimate day of the US Open, and about a week after this finishes, we'll be off to the capital city of Vietnam for the Hanoi Open, the inaugural staging of a major new event on the World Nineball Tour, with a wonderful field of players from all over the world. Magnificent ticket sales being reported. October 14th, the Sky Sports coverage begins. Set the alarm clock for that, 4 a.m. That's what's going on here at the US Open, which in contrast has been around since 1976. Robbie Capito really holding his own against Federer Gorst, level at 4-all. Here on the TV table, ahead of Ko Ping Chung against Max Lechner. Later, it's Jayson Shaw leading 6-3 against Aleksa Pecelj. But the young man from Serbia won the previous rack. That's why he's breaking in this one.
Got a little quicker there, but it's going to work out, I believe, and really work out. You got to believe, you know, this run, he's obviously played well. These tables are so tough. Now, the TV table's playing a little more generous, the pockets, but the tables we played on all week have been so tough. So we know he's played well after the break, but you got to believe the break has been a big part of his success, and he needs to lean on it now.
One thing that's been a struggle for him is actually finding good players to practice with in Serbia, because there aren't that many of them. And Andrea Klasovic, who he played with in the World Cup of Pool a couple of times, isn't really playing anymore. So that option has been removed, and he spends a lot of time practicing on his own. But then again, with so many tournaments now, there's not that much time at home for practice.
Yeah, well, you and I are near the practice tables, and it may have lightened up a little bit, but there's so many players that aren't even in the event anymore that are over here practicing. And most of them you see practice by themselves, really. That the game's best played by yourself when you're out there. You kind of ignore your opponent. You get to ignore the situation a little bit. You're not going to ignore it totally. But yeah, it's good to have someone to learn with, you know, kind of spitball about things, figure things out, and also have a set of eyes on you. You can't watch yourself very often. Now you can. These guys learn things and understand the swing, but those extra pair of eyes mean a big difference to a lot of players.
He did play in the World Cup again this year, Pecelj. This time with Lazar Kostic, but they were heavily beaten in the first round by Poland. So Serbia have now played in the World Cup 4 times in total and have yet to win a match in it.
Well, I watched his partner this year, of course, and I think he's got some talent. I think he's got a lot of talent. Just Aleksa's going to bring him along, I'm sure, as he brings himself along. All right, a little straight, maybe going away from the 7 a hair. Just pinch it back, take a little shot on the 7. Should be a problem. May draw back to the rail, it looks like. And this is exactly the recipe to get back into this match. Break and run to cut it to 2 games. That next match is going to be one I think is going to be really good. Of course, a rematch of our semifinal from last year in the US Open.
Yeah,
Ko Ping Chung.
Yeah, against Max Lechner.
That's right.
Yeah, who beat him 11-10 in the semis. Lechner then went on to lose the final to Francisco Sanchez Ruiz.
And I think technique-wise, Max has improved a little bit. Of course, his seasoning, he's always getting it. He's stepping further in these events, looking to snap one off.
Aleksa Pecelj started this match with a break and run. He's had another one there to make it 2 in a row. And all of a sudden, he's right on Jayson Shaw's shoulder. It's 6-4. This is what's happening in the other quarterfinal going on at the moment. And Robbie Capito has a chance to lead against Federer Gorst here at 5-4. Just talking about Serbia playing in 4 World Cups without winning a match. I know you love these quizzes, JJ. So there are 2 countries who've played in more World Cups than that without ever winning a match. Any ideas?
Let's see. You're talking about pool, correct?
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, okay. I was going to say I got no chance in the soccer, but
well, one of them played this year.
Okay. I think one of them South American, maybe.
No.
No.
Thank you. Rack 11.
Come back to
Aleksa
that in a
Pecelj
moment.
break, trailing by 6 racks to 4.
There's
Pecelj.
2, you said, right?
There are 2, yeah, who've played in more World Cups of pool than Serbia without ever winning a match. Pecelj looking to get back all of a sudden to just 1 behind.
Cyprus, one of them?
No, but geographically you're very close. It's Malta.
Oh, Malta, okay.
Yeah, they've played in 10 and not won a match. And
Well,
there's one
that's
other
amazing.
country that played this year for the 6th time, still hasn't won a match. Country that has to travel a long way, no matter where the World Cup of Pool
okay.
is.
New Zealand?
Yeah, very good.
Okay. Well, with Tony Drago, you know what I mean? He always overcame a lot of things. So surprising, because I'm sure he was on most of those teams from Malta, if not all of them. For them not to win a match. So talented, Tony can knock balls in from anywhere.
Well, Drago was 1 ball away from winning the World Cup of Snooker many years ago. Although not with Malta, it was a rest of the world team. Anyway, back to the US Open. Aleksa Pecelj on the march here.
Just the way he's cueing makes me think he's playing safe. Yeah. And so that's a question mark right there. I mean, the safety wasn't ever going to get you ball in hand with Jayson Shaw. And he could have cut that 3 down the rail. It did have a pocket. The cross-side bank was available. I think you're going to see a lot of players attack there instead of go for the safety. I'm not saying it's right or wrong, just a perspective. I like the swerve shot, trying to hit the 3 full.
Extension code.
Trying to bank it down and trying to go into the 6 with the cue ball. I think it's a subtle swerve is all it is. And one the players usually feel real well. You can see him elevate the back end of the cue, have a little left spin. Oh,
Foul here.
fouled the pink.
Ball in hand. Start the shot clock, please.
Didn't expect that at all. And I said it wouldn't get you ball in hand, but looky here. Yeah, he just shaved the pink. We talked about it the other day. Amazing them pool balls, you can hit it with that much speed and it literally just rock over.
Well, Pecelj probably can't quite believe what he's been given here. What a chance to close it to 6-5.
Start the shot clock,
Yeah, he'll
please.
set up for a 5-8 combination. It shouldn't be a problem. Should actually be pretty close to the 5 after coming off the top cushion. Now here, just don't worry about the 5. It's not going to get away. If you make them both, the 6 is hanging.
The matchroom schedule of major pool events now has 10 stops on it. 5 of those are these 256 Fields Open events. And this is the 4th to be held this year. He's made single elimination in all of them. This is by far the furthest he's gone in them. Last 32 of the UK and European Opens. Last 64 in the Spanish.
He really spun that one in instead of using the second rail with the cue ball, but just so many great players. Look at the ones we're missing here in the final 8.
Ball in hand, and Pecelj did the rest. It wasn't that long ago he was 6-2 behind. Now he's breaking with a chance to draw level. Capito and Gorst is trying to draw level on table 1. He's 5-4 behind against Robbie Capito. And this is the SVB Junior Open final, heading for a finish here. It's still very hard to call a winner. Martinez leading the Estonian Nadeberg 6-5. Race to 9 in that.
Yeah, I think maybe the first lead for Lass. Trailed the entire match, it seems.
Aleksa Pecelj, only a few years older than most of these competitors in the junior event. He's out here on the main stage, and he's right back in the hunt.
Yeah, here's that break that's been so kind to him. And now again, a good look at the blue two. Not easy, some distance. I think the cueing is okay. We'll get a look at where the three came to rest. Knocked in that long two, got in a good position here on the three. And again, the difference in this table is really about the cue ball. You can even see between the two tables a little different color, even though they're the same felt. The one on the right a little more broke in.
Extension code.
So this is the type of shot. If he's trying to come across, you'll notice the purple there, so he can't just go naturally. He's got to kind of control how the cue ball comes across. Slick table can really get away from you. Yeah, and he even stayed away from playing underneath the pink, excuse me.
I think Shane is still here, isn't he? So presumably he'll be presenting
absolutely,
the trophy
yeah,
for the junior event.
I think he's probably over there watching them. I think they got some pictures before the final.
Jayson Shaw had a junior event named in his honour at the UK Open in London earlier this year. He's got concerns of his own on his mind here. Was in firm control of this match. It's all turned around. Pecelj with all the momentum now.
He's going to give her up another shot. And a good one. Perfect angle to get on the purple five. All tied at 6 apiece with the juniors going to 9. Going to be a close one.
And a great chance it's going to be 6-all on this table in a few moments as well. We've been talking about how focused Jayson Shaw looks this week. Pecelj, though, is always like that. So intense, so zoned in. And when you speak to him, by the way, as friendly and pleasant a young man as you could ever hope to meet.
Yeah, and really, of course, the juniors that are playing right now and all the ones here this week have been great. They were great last year. They were great in Germany. But the fillers junior tournament, like you said, Jayson Shaw's, FSR's in Spain. Throughout the world, the juniors around the pool are awesome. And again, the young professionals like Pecelj, even better it seems. Got a little more game is all. Interesting he played position on that route. Could have came to the center of the table with no worry to get on the 6.
Aleksa Pecelj led 2-1 in this quarter-final. Gradually it slipped away from him. It's Jayson Shaw on 5 in a row to carve out a 6-2 lead. although this 9 is a fraction more testing than he would ideally have hoped, this should go down to get him back on level terms. That's exactly what has happened. It's 6-all in this absorbing quarter-final. It's a race to 4 from here.
Nettenberg 7, Martinez 6, Nettenberg breaking rack number 14.
No, I've just put the stuff.
Nothing quite like a Moscone Cup. The 30th staging is coming up in London just before Christmas. 6:30 that evening of the 6th of December. The coverage begins on Sky Sports, and I'm sure you're hoping, JJ, that come the end of the 6th of December, you're in a better place than your compatriot Zach Johnson is this evening.
Yeah, things not so good over the pond for America in the Ryder Cup, but that's why it's a 3-day event. Sleep on it, get on with it.
Jeremy captaining the American side for the 4th year in a row. against Ralph Eckert's European side. 6-all here.
Tell you what, he's going to get another look at, it seems, maybe tight, the 2-ball by the 9, but the expression on his face said it does play. Now, can he do anything with the cue ball? It's amazing how the pool balls seem to sit in funny places. You know, if he could go into the 7 easily, but the 8's there. He's got to draw by the 7, and he can't overdraw because the pink's, you know, not far away. Maybe a safety because of all those reasons. Well, I'll tell you what, Eagle Eye's got a shot at the 9 here off of any of his left side of the 2. He's going to send the cue ball into the 9, and I'm sure that's what he's going to play. Players get a feel for these types of shots, Michael, and they make them way more often than you would expect. And the good thing is it kind of sets up to bank the 2 around as well.
Extension.
Extension code.
Maybe a little right English here to throw the 9. He was trying to send the cue ball at the 9, I believe it, but so a pocket open does go in the side.
You know, when Aleksa Pecelj was so heartbroken by that defeat to Joshua Filler at this stage of the UK Open last year, Jayson Shaw was the man on the spot to comfort him and said, come on, let's forget about it and we'll go for a night out in London. And he brought him out in the UK's capital city. Sanjin Pelovanovic, who's great friends with Aleksa, went along as well. And just for a while, he was able to put the huge disappointment behind him. What a gesture by Shaw.
Please.
Yeah, Jayson, a lot of compassion for his colleagues, and that's another thing that I think today's era, they feel more like colleagues, even though they have to beat each other for their living.
Well, the way things are now with so many big events and all the traveling around the world together, it feels like they know they're on a big adventure and they're sharing that, and these are days they're going to remember forever, and they're creating memories along the way.
Yeah, absolutely. That's why you see so many of the players that are out of the event stick around to watch the finals and not miss the moments, and really get a little of that experience for it themselves, even though they're on the sidelines. And I can personally say, you know, probably one of the biggest pluses in my life is to be able to stick around pool and be able to be around it, even though not playing, and see guys like Aleksa just mature right, you know, before your eyes, and it's literally what's happening in today's pool world in the sport of 9-ball.
Doesn't take away at all from the kind gesture, but we should say Jayson is never reluctant to go on a night out with anyone, anywhere. Loves the social aspect of the game.
Well, you said it the other day, you know, about you've been around a lot of sports, but it's easy to be around the pool players. You know, they're special talents, but they feel a lot more blue collar at times, and just a fun group. Never going to have a bad time going out and, you know, mixing it up a little bit. And did it look like anything like a 7-6 lead for Pecelj just, what, 30 or 40 minutes ago? You would say no, but here it is.
Absolutely. How do you respond to losing 5 racks in succession? Well, pretty good way of doing it is to win the next 5 for yourself. And by doing just that, quite remarkably, Aleksa Pecelj is back into the lead in this quarterfinal. He only needs 3 more to make it to the last day of this US Open.
Yeah, and that 30 or 40 minutes ago, we're going to see Robbie Capito try and tie it. Boy, they've had about 5 lead changes in that match and just passed halfway. But
Can we just clarify something? Did you just
and now Laz at 7-7. So you see things heating up all over.
Yeah, that Capito Gorst match, it's 6-all, but it's been very different to this one where it's been big swings of momentum. It's been pretty close all the way, and that
Extension.
Yeah, and that 30 or 40 minutes ago with that 6-2 lead, I mentioned, you know, maybe the one thing that has held Jayson back, you know, besides a little bad luck, is maybe getting a little frustrated behind that bad luck. Well, that frustration wasn't there because he was still winning games. But now, trailing 7-6, we'll see what the complexion of the emotions look like going
Leading
on
by
from
7
here.
racks to 6.
He's ahead again, but he's never led by 2 in this match.
Oh, the break has been awesome. What's the green 6 going to do? Wow.
And you could see the little flick of frustration with the cue as he walked away from the table.
Well, I think he's back to the feeling that he's not going to make a mistake if he gets an open shot. So not so much that he didn't get a shot at all. He just wanted to continue. I don't know of a safety here, really.
Start the clock, please.
You could try to clip the 2, but you're stone gambling doing that. I think it's going to be a push out of some sort. Now, the one thing he could do is he could clip the 2 into the pink with a lot of speed. Try and come off the side rail, the end rail, and then back down behind the 3, 7, 8, 9. And the good thing is, if he gets the cue ball some distance, it's going to be a difficult shot, even if Jayson can get at it. The only worry I'd have here is that maybe the cue ball gets some kiss with the pink, maybe? Yeah, see the kiss on the pink right there? That was the one that was the worry. I think he was trying to do somewhat of what I said, just get some distance. Now Jayson very off angle on this 2, and I think the green 6 may be kind of impeding much cue ball movement. So he's going to have to take on a long 3. And it's amazing, right? And it's always like this, it seems, Michael, that, you know, the beginning of the match, the balls were opening up pretty well. We had one game where they were kind of tied up, but overall, but as the match goes on and they stay close, the racks seem to get tougher. Oh, he doesn't want to make this. And this is kind of what I mean. If something goes against, how's he going to react? Because he really made a smart shot there, just going into the pink, figuring there's no way to get snookered. I'll just play from there.
Yeah, 4 stays on the table. He's got an easy pot and a fairly straightforward shot to then get on the 5. But now, a conundrum he didn't
Extension,
expect
please.
to be facing.
I like that extension right there. Not only a tough play on the 5 here for decision-wise, but just a little bit more walking around to calm things down and a little reset.
He wasn't smiling earlier in the match, was he? So focused with those big eyes, lasering in. The smile has appeared now, but it's a rueful one.
I don't think he can do much here but try and clip this ball. Oh, he went for the bank.
Keep the noise down, please.
Well, there was always that, but that was I was leading to is the safety. To me, didn't look very profitable. So when that's the case and the shot's usually just as tough as the safety, you're going to attack with the shot.
Extension, please.
How big's this long 5-ball feel to you, Michael?
Well, I can tell it feels pretty big to Pecelj. As you could see, he was bracing himself there. Taking the extension. Perhaps the biggest shot of the match so far. Well, he's come up with the goods to an extent, because there's still work to be done here.
Absolutely, and you'll notice he just cut the 5 a little to the outside of the pocket. That's what caused the cue ball to move over a little more. I think he can draw this to the side rail and bring it back to the right side of the table to play the brown 7 in the lower left.
And now this becomes the biggest shot of the match so far. Did the pressure of the shot clock get to him there? Because he's used his extension already. He knew time was running out, and he often seems to leave himself very short on time.
Yeah, and it just looked like a little different pre-strokes, like he was still trying to get a feel for the shot when he was down, and then the beeps went off, knowing there's only 5 seconds left. But if you have to put speed, even the TV table with the new felt, you can tell he didn't miss that by much.
And there's that focused look from earlier in the match. Back again for Jayson Shaw. How he needed to win this rack. And he has 7-all.
Jayson Shaw wins the rack.
As they both aim for a place in the last 4 of Pool's most historic championship.
Okay.
Oh dear, try picking a winner here, JJ.
Yeah, I think it's probably similar on the other table as well.
Let's have a look, 6-all. But Robbie Capito with a great chance to lead 7-6.
Yeah, it doesn't look like much problem. Just got to draw the cue ball a little bit.
I was saying earlier he's had some really big wins. He beat Albin Ocean 9-0 in a tournament not so long ago. In a way, this would probably be his biggest win, though, because Gorst is arguably the best player in the world at the moment. And, of course, there's all the context, which in sport is everything. He's playing on one of the main tables. It's to get through to the last day of the US Open.
Yeah, well, like you said, that 9-0 win over Albin Ocean just shows you that talent level.
Robbie Capito wins the rack.
And as Marcel Eckhart has just confirmed there, that gives Capito the rack. Nobody knows more about the American pool scene and the players within it than you, Jeremy. How highly do you rate this kid?
Oh, well, very high. And, you know, I think he needs to get out as much as he can, and he does so. Get out and play with the best players. And of course, still in school, just turning 17. But you can tell really copies his game behind SVB in pretty much every manner. But yeah, pool playing family. Very talented family in all kinds of sports. His younger brother's a couple years younger. He plays it real well also.
We talk a lot about the collegiate system that you have in so many sports over here and how well it prepares players. Even in individual sports like golf, players who come through that, they then go on to the PGA Tour and they're expecting to win tournaments from the off. Well, we don't have that in pool, but these junior events that Matchroom are putting on for these youngsters alongside the major tournaments are really pool's equivalent of that collegiate system, and they're preparing these guys for the life in the professional game that they hope lies ahead for them in a few years.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, America's done real well the last couple of years, really trying to put things together for the juniors more and more. And you know, I don't think anything is going to do any better than them getting next to these great players and getting some exposure, get a little feeling.
Well, one of the greatest of all time will be presenting the trophy in a few minutes' time, and he may well be handing it over to a fellow American. Martinez is now on the hill. As we pan back across to the center of the action on this penultimate evening in Atlantic City. Jayson Shaw striding back in. Aleksa Pecelj is waiting.
Yeah, both players have broke the balls really well.
Thank you. Rack 15. Jayson Shaw to break. 7 racks each.
You wonder how much impact the break's going to have on this match from here on out. Maybe a golden break, maybe an awful kiss on the cue ball, maybe a dry one.
How about a scratch?
Yeah, that's that kiss
Ball
on the
in
cue
hand.
ball I was talking about. Like Jayson said in the previous match, the cue ball comes across into the 9. It got him the win
Start the clock,
in
please.
Skyler's match, but now it costs him the cue ball at 7 apiece. Very doable out here. Everything's separated a foot or two. It's got to work a little bit, of course, but main thing is don't take your eye off the ball. Position is there. Well, now this is a little out of position here. I'm not saying it's super tough, but it's going to be a little thinner maybe on the 5 than he wants after knocking in the pink 4. Oh, he caught it thick to the pocket, so that's going to help him get a little better on the 5. A nice aggressive position there from Aleksa.
Pool and snooker, the 2 biggest cue sports around the world. Snooker's got a big problem, you know, in terms of a lack of young players coming through to challenge the established order. It couldn't be more different in pool. You look at this wonderful junior event going on. You're looking at Pecelj, who's only 23. Gorst, who's the same age. Capito and Zielinski, who are in the quarterfinals, are even younger.
Yeah, it's rich in that regard, and only going to get bigger and brighter, you believe, and or we all believe. But I don't know. I love snooker and all, and I see all the talents, but I really feel the fight more. And when I watch 9-ball pool, I get a little more energy with it. Of course, that's what I played.
Very timely, only a few minutes ago. JJ, you were talking about what impact the break might have on the climactic stages of this wonderful last 8 encounter.
Extension,
well, here
please.
we've seen it in action. Scratch from Jayson Shaw on the break. And this is what it's all led to.
Yeah, I think Aleksa assumed the 9 in the side was easier, but now has to take it in the corner.
And with that, he goes 1 clear again. And now the finish line, the semi-finals starting to come into view. It's 8-7.
foul. Extension.
Extension.
Places in the final day of the US Open up for grabs here. Semi-finals and final will both be played tomorrow. It's the quarters tonight, and everything is so close at the moment. Aleksa Pecelj was 6-2 down on the main table against Jayson Shaw. He's now 2 away from victory at 8-7. And look at that, Capito Gorst and Capito, well, they've been tight all the way. It's 7-all in that. Gorst just drawing level by winning rack 14.
Thank you. Rack 16. Aleksa Pecelj at the break. Leading by 8 racks to 7.
Oh, looky there. I talked about the break. But now Laz Martinez at the table. And ahead 8-7 to take down the second annual SVB Junior Open.
These are moments that'll stand to him in the future. The memory of coming here to Atlantic City, potting tough 8 and then following it, he will hope, with this 9. To close it out and claim the SVB Junior Open to the rapturous acclaim of the crowd here at Harrods.
Congratulations, I told you. Congratulations.
Now, Carl Naderberg seems to be suggesting that a shirt foul has been committed by Martinez that's gone unnoticed.
Is that what he said?
He was on the ball.
Pretty sure that was what he was claiming. If you're going to make a call like that, you've got to say it at the time, haven't you? Anyway, back here, Aleksa Pecelj trying to get to the hill.
And we'll see how he plays this thin 4, probably with a little rolling right English. Try and just come above the head string and take a little shot on the purple. Try to move the ball here, you could have problems, but it's hard to second guess any real decision. That's what I'm talking about right there. Just straight up the table, a little right English.
Extension.
I think another lead change on our outer table. I think Capito and Gorst is now taking a lead.
And that would be 8-7. Yeah, I think you're right about that. We'll confirm it in a moment.
And even though you're not in love with it, that decision right there, you just got to remind yourself, or someone, if they were with you, would remind you how great you're playing. So don't try to do too much on the 4. Just know you got to knock in a nice one on the 5.
Now you can see there the 2 players from the SVB Junior Open final are still sitting there, and I don't know if there's some consultation going on. Can you change the result retrospectively? I wouldn't have thought so, even if there was a shirt foul.
No, it's sports. I mean, you see it all the time in other sports. You know, human referees. It just sometimes isn't easy out there for those refs, and sometimes things happen. But more often than not, just like other sports, when they go to the replay, they got it right way more often than they ever get it wrong. Talk about getting it right at the right time. Young man from Serbia. Really shining here to try and get on the hill. Does he go the second rail with the cue ball or just one rail down?
And this is going to be 7 of the last 8 racks. One more, and he'll be in the semi-finals of a matchroom event for the very first time. Aleksa Pecelj leads 9-7. You know, it's no criticism at all of the young Estonian. If he feels there was a shirt foul, he's entitled to say it, but it would just be such a pity, wouldn't it, at the end of such a wonderful event for these youngsters, if it was to end with some sort of bad feeling.
How long would it take?
Emily Fraser there, who is effectively in charge of all this. She's been brought in, it seems, or is that maybe just to conduct the trophy ceremony? Yeah, I think they've moved on from any discussion. They were just waiting, I think, for that rack to finish so we could watch this, and Naderberg is smiling anyway, so that's good to see.
The kid screws up the jump shot, and then he wants to blame the referee.
Just fantastic for the young American to be alongside Shane Van Boning, who I understand is someone he's described as his hero.
Yeah, they know each other. I mean, Laz and Shane has been down to Texas many times and around Laz. Many of us know Laz is going to be a great player for a long time, and really proud to see him get that trophy.
And Shane is someone who keeps to himself a lot at venues. He doesn't talk to many people, that's his way. But when moments like this come around, that's where he comes into his own, and relating to young players just means so much to them.
Yeah, and hats off to our second place finisher. Just a step away from winning that title.
Wow, what's going on in his head now?
Yeah, he's wondering what we're waiting on. And again, it looks like he's taken what's happened here. He was up 6-2 and has lost 7 out of 8 games.
He's talking to the tournament director, Brendan Moore from Sheffield, asking.
But Jayson saying surely he should be.
Yeah, now just stop talking there, because we could actually hear the conversation between Brendan and Desislava, who's the referee. So is he querying whether Pecelj has the right to leave the arena?
Yeah, maybe, but you know, he may have been granted a free timeout considering you know, the events with the juniors going on, and that does happen. Almost like occasionally we get a technical issue that will interrupt play, and of course the players are given a free timeout at that point as well.
Little controversies and skirmishes going on all around the arena. And perhaps while we're waiting, we could maybe look in on that Capito and Gorst match.
No idea.
Well, another rack has clearly been completed because Gorst has actually left the table. He's coming back to it now.
Thanks. Gonna go. We're starting.
Yeah, so we're not going to go over there because Aleksa is back in the arena now, but it's 8-7 to Fedor Gorst.
Thank you.
Over Robbie
Rack
Capito.
17.
Gorst.
Aleksa Pecelj at the break.
Only
On the
2
hill,
racks
leading
in a row.
9-7.
Here we go then. He's broken so well throughout the match. If he can do it once more, he can be through to the semis.
Keep quiet now, please.
But it seems like it's hard to get that last one with the break and run. And Looks like here it's going to be a safety coming. We'll see what decision is made. But Brendan, the tournament director, did come over to me and confirmed that Jayson just making sure that was allowed, and just because the timeout may have already been used for Aleksa. He said during the presentation, of course, both you can go take a couple minutes, and boy, a big shot here. Be aggressive to get him behind the 3, bringing the 2 down the middle of the table towards the 7. Oh, he hit it well. Hit it really well. I tell you, this is going to be a difficult hit. I think he's just got to go one rail between the 6 and the 4. Probably be with some speed. Now the other option, and I doubt he goes that direction, is he could put the 3 tied up on the 9 and just concede the ball in hand and see what the youngster wants to do from there. I kind of wouldn't doubt he kicks this right in the hole.
Foul shot.
Well, it was that classic last stand situation. If the shot goes wrong, that could be the end of his campaign. And what an opportunity now for this 23-year-old from Serbia.
Yeah, not easy, though, for a couple reasons. He can't get real straight on the 3 because of the 9. He can get decently straight. But when he draws back from the 3 to the 4, he's going to have an angle just because there's no other way to play it. So he's going to have to avoid the 7 ball when he shoots the 4. He's kind of sizing that up now. If you can get past that, the next hurdle, you can see the 8 on one side of the table, the 9 on the other. Key here is don't come too far out in the middle. Oh, he's going to get pretty thin here. Now can he avoid the 7 at all, Michael? This is the real issue. Problem is, if you try to avoid the 7, that means you have to put speed on this, and the cue ball could get away from you in a long distance on the 5. I think he's going to use the 7. Boy, how sweet a stroke was that. Remember a 6 ball to the upper corner that he was kind of on the same angle. The only difference, he had to put a lot of power into that one. This one he can hit fairly light coming across with the cue ball.
We spoke earlier about the heartbreak he experienced against Joshua Filler, the only previous time he's been to the quarterfinals of an event like this. It was tears in London. In a few moments, it may be cheers in Atlantic City.
Oh, and he's hit this perfectly. Got plenty of angle. That way you can hit it that nice medium speed. Opens up the pocket a little bit for the 8. You can get easily across for the 9.
Extension, please.
There just had to be one more brief moment of anxiety before the end of this quarterfinal, didn't there? So how on earth do you turn it round from 6-2 down in a big match against one of the very best players in the world? Well, if you want to know the answer to that, ask Aleksa, because Pecelj has come storming back, winning 8 of the last 9 racks, and has beaten Jayson Shaw 10-7. The last remaining former US Open winner is out.